welcome to the Institute.
Hi,
Mary-Louise,
Howard. How are
nice to
you?
speak to you. I'm fantastic, thank you. Especially after having seen the first few episodes of the series. It's fantastic.
Oh,
Congratulations.
good. Oh,
Uh-huh.
good. I'm glad you liked it.
No, it's great. I mean, obviously, you are no stranger to Stephen King's adaptations. Obviously, you were Mr. Mercedes not too long ago. Um, I was reading an interview that Stephen King did actually about the Institute when he wrote the book when it came out. He said that he didn't really specifically write this as an allegory for anything that was going on right now, but it's impossible not to kind of resonate with some of the things that certainly echo with the current kind of
Yes.
social times. No, so I'm quite curious
Yeah.
because your character is very much in a position of power, but feel that they're doing kind of harm for the greater good, if you will. I'm quite curious how you approach that. Did you try not to kind of did you try not to lean into the current times and try and inspire yourself on something that what was more fictional than non-fiction to kind of create more of an escapist type of character in the series?
Um, I think she's really her whole center is just focused on the Institute and the mission. And I think she like is willing to do anything for this cause. And so in a way that differs from I think what you might be alluding to in terms of the world at the moment is that she thinks she's saving lives. She's saving more lives than she's destroying. So it's about numbers, which is in a way um, kind of timely. But there is that whole mentality that I'm fighting for, for uh, our our rights and our boundaries and our borders, and uh, that it's so diluted and it's so myopic, and it's that inability to see the rest of the world and to see beyond your whatever's in your proximity, that I think that when people begin to be kind of like amoral,
Mhm. I
because
mean, you
it's
mentioned
like
that.
morality is not like a la carte. You can't say like, oh, I'm good only to these people. I think didn't the vice president say that? Like, oh, I take care of my wife and my children and my neighbors or something. But I don't know. He's a Catholic, and that's not really what Jesus said to do. So it's there's like some kind of disconnect there, which is
Yeah,
like you
definitely.
don't get to choose who you are good to. You're supposed to be, you know, uh, kind to all. And of course, we all fall short of that. I fall short of that, but it could be like a goal.
Congratulations
For
for being here.
my parents, do they know where I am? Are they alive?
Of course. We're not monsters.
Something that I really enjoyed about your character specifically, Mrs. Sixby, she's the director of the institute, no, but at the same time she's stuck in the middle. So she's kind of she kind of puts on appearances not only with the kids. Can we call them kids? I know that you don't like to call them kids in the series, but yeah. So she kind of puts on these appearances because they have these powers, and I think you can kind of there's certain things in you, especially in kind of the looks when you're looking at them through on the camera on the screens. I can kind of feel a sense of inferiority. I don't know if I'm reading between the lines a little bit, but at the same time, because you are not the top dog, you kind of also feel a kind of inferiority complex, kind of stuck in the middle between those two, if you know what I
Yes.
mean. So I'm quite curious
Yeah.
how you approach that for your character to kind of find the right balance between those two positions of superiority, if you will.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think actually that's where she fails, because there are two men who actually she's their superior, and yet at times, she confides in them and has more of a relationship with them than she should. And she makes the mistake of trusting them, which doesn't behoove her
Yeah.
uh, in the end, you know.
Mhm.
But I think you're right. I think especially in these situations where everything becomes punitive when you make a mistake, and there's always like another rung for you to drop down. I think that's, when people just kind of get, uh, they're just living on desperation. Everything becomes like trying to get ahead.
Without our work, the world as we know it would cease to be. That's bigger than any of us. It's my responsibility to see that that work gets done. So it will get done.
I also spoke to Ben just recently as well, and we were talking about how it shares certain parallels with It, also by Stephen King, but this is kind of a more modern take in that it kind of treats telekinesis and telepathy almost like a representation of how we communicate with others, and also kind of this untapped power that we have in ourselves. So I'm quite curious if you learn anything about maybe untapped kind of ways of communication or untapped powers that you found in yourself, maybe while kind of being an actor in the series at all.
Yeah.
Dealing with these
Well,
things.
I'm certainly not like self-aggrandizing enough to think I have any kind of like superhuman power. Beyond like I write really good thank you notes. Like I think like my abilities are, they're limited to like a very human, like I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm able to like move spoons with my mind and that kind
No,
of
but
thing.
I mean kind of like grounded powers, just like at the superpowers of being of empathizing and these kind of things. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm glad you said that actually, because I do think that's a superpower. And I also think it's a painful kind of it's a gift to be an empath, but it's also like it comes with a burden as well, consistently feeling for others is it can be a difficult place to exist,
Yeah, no, definitely, absolutely, yeah. So just before they pull me out, I want to talk a little about. I mean, I mentioned It there. The series from 1990, the miniseries was it terrified a generation, and this series, like I said, it shares certain parallels, but I don't think won't terrify this generation. I don't think. But what kind of impact do you think this series might have on the current generation, or what would you
yeah,
like? What kind of impact would you like to see the
yeah.
series have on today's
Well,
generation?
it's interesting that you say that because it's hard. It's a hard generation to terrify. They're
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
desensitized, which is
They're no more
our
than
fault,
kids,
my
no more than we do
generation's
now. Yeah,
fault for having given them phones and social
yeah.
media and all of these things, which just lead to kind of like a, a loss of sensitivity. So there is a really wonderful message in the way they galvanized and they just came together and were able to fight a corrupt system, which it's hard to get the younger generation get them out there to protest or to speak up. And I think that's not a bad message, and maybe they'll be able to empathize with these kids because you're so firmly rooted on their side from the very beginning of the story.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait for people to see this show so I can speak to them about it because there's so many things that I want to talk about but I can't spoil it with you. So thank you so much for your time
Oh,
again,
good.
Mary-Louise.
Okay.
Best of success.
Thank
And
you.
I hope to
Thank you
speak to
so
you again
much.
soon. All right.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank you
much. Have a
very
good day.
much. You too.
Bye-bye.
We only get one shot. We don't have a lot of time. We're gonna find a way to help us all.
Sometimes you win by showing you're still willing to fight.
We're gonna do more than that. We're gonna bring this whole place down.